Welcome to this TubeDuel Original Explainer. Today, we're unpacking the absolutely wild history of ChatGPT. We're going to see exactly how a tiny, super ambitious team took a massive gamble on an unproven idea, scaled up their computing power, and basically created a tool that rewired how the world works.
So here's our roadmap for the explainer. We'll hit 1, the big AI idea, 2, growing the AI brain, 3, teaching the model, 4, the viral launch, and finally, 5, the future of AI. Let's get right into it.
Part 1. The big AI idea. Let's wind the clock back a bit. So OpenAI started out in 2015, just a small nonprofit team with this huge mission to build AI for humanity, not just corporate profit. But early on, they kind of lacked the right tech to truly understand human language. The real turning point? That happened in 2017. Google researchers put out a groundbreaking paper, and OpenAI took that open source concept to build their very first generative model, GPT-1, releasing it in 2018. Now, the secret weapon in that 2017 paper was something called the transformer. Before this, computers really struggled with long texts because they read just like we do, one word at a time, sequentially. But the transformer, total game changer. It let the system look at every single word in a sequence all at exactly the same time, instantly mapping out all those complex connections across a whole document. It's like, imagine older AI as a reader with terrible short-term memory. By the time it got to the end of a long sentence, it totally forgot how the sentence started. But this new transformer-powered AI sees the entire page in one flash. It keeps perfect context, speeds up training massively, and actually makes the AI's responses make logical sense. This one shift made literally everything else possible. All right, section 2, growing the AI brain. This is where things get really interesting. Moving into 2019 and 2020, OpenAI made a really controversial call. At the time, most of the tech world thought that just making AI models bigger would eventually hit a wall. A hard limit to how smart a machine could get just by feeding it more data. But OpenAI, they bet everything on the exact opposite. They believed that if they just threw way more computing power at it, the network would naturally get smarter. And just think about this jump in scale. It was staggering. GPT-1 started with 117 million parameters. Think of parameters as the digital synapses in the AI's brain. By 2019, GPT-2 jumped to 1.5 billion. And then in 2020, GPT-3 exploded to a massive 175 billion parts. To feed this giant brain, they essentially downloaded books, Wikipedia, and countless internet articles. Just a vast ocean of human knowledge. Because it grew so incredibly big, the AI did something nobody fully expected. Industry folks call them emergent capabilities. Basically, the AI suddenly learned how to do complex things it was never actually programmed to do. Out of nowhere, it's translating languages, solving logic puzzles, even writing working computer code. It found hidden patterns in all that data, proving OpenAI's massive gamble was right. Bigger really did mean smarter. Section 3, teaching the model. Because honestly, a super smart AI isn't enough on its own. It has to actually be helpful. You see, a raw AI model is basically just a giant autocomplete. It just mathematically guesses the next word. So to turn it into a conversational assistant, OpenAI used a brilliant 3-step loop called RLHF, or reinforcement learning from human feedback. Step 1, a human asks a question. Step 2, the AI answers. Step 3, a human grades that answer. This constant grading taught the model what we actually consider a good, helpful response. And this human feedback was absolutely crucial for safety. The goals were super clear. Teach the AI to follow instructions clearly, stop it from giving bad or toxic answers, and make it act like a polite, friendly assistant. That grading process took a wild, unpredictable text machine and refined it into a highly safe tool that anyone could talk to. Which brings us to Section 4, the viral launch. Fast forward to November 2022, the moment this thing accidentally broke the internet. According to a case study from Bruce Studio, OpenAI's mindset going in was literally, this wasn't a product launch, it was an open experiment. No huge marketing budget, no hype campaign, no exclusive waitlist. They just put a simple blank text box online to see what a few outside researchers might do with it. They fully expected a quiet, low-key test. But on November 30, 2022, everything changed. The real genius wasn't just the AI, it was the chat interface itself. Suddenly, there was zero learning curve. If you knew how to text, you could now command a supercomputer. Users instantly started pushing the limits, drafting legal contracts, debugging software, writing creative stories, all just by chatting with it.
The explosion in users was unreal. Purely through word of mouth and sheer usefulness, the tool hit 100 million active users in just 2 months. It became the fastest growing consumer app in internet history. The demand was so overwhelming that OpenAI servers were constantly melting down under the traffic, metaphorically on fire every single day. But millions of people just kept hitting refresh to get back in.
To really put that hypergrowth into perspective, TikTok, famously known for taking over the world, needed 9 whole months to hit 100 million users. Instagram took 2.5 years. ChatGPT did it in about 60 days. In the blink of an eye, a quiet research experiment became this global phenomenon that every single company suddenly had to care about. Finally, Section 5, the future of AI. We've seen the history, now let's look at what's coming next. The innovation has not slowed down for a second. With models like GPT-4, the AI has incredibly advanced logic. It now has memory, allowing it to remember you and your past chats. We're heading straight toward a future where AI isn't just a website you visit, but a seamless, always-on background assistant connected to your custom data, anticipating what you need before you even type it. Looking back at this whole unbelievable ride, OpenAI CEO Sam Altman admitted 99% of the world thought we were crazy. Back in 2015, building artificial general intelligence was basically considered science fiction. But by sticking to their vision, quietly scaling up their tech, and ignoring the skeptics, that tiny team completely reshaped modern technology. It's amazing, right? This history proves that technology can shift seemingly overnight. In less than a decade, we went from basic text prediction to a smart intelligence that collaborates with humanity on a global scale. So as these models keep compounding in intelligence, the question isn't really whether AI will change the world anymore. The real question is, what will you build with it next? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep exploring.